Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Jadisola. I know it's been a minute since I last posted on my channel, and I feel like I owe you guys some life updates. And so let's get into this video. So where do I start from? Let me start from my 9 to 5 career. So for anyone who's new to my channel, I work in product management. And this year, as soon as we resumed work, 6th of January was when most people came back to work. It's been back-to-back busy. It's been extremely busy for me. I didn't anticipate that my 9 to 5 was gonna take so much of my time that I wouldn't have time for social media. And if you've also been following my channel, you know how I am with my goals. One of my main goals this year was to grow on social media across all my social media platforms that I use. But it's been extremely busy. I have been starting work really early just so that I can have some quiet time to do some actual work, because my days are actually filled with meetings and I have to put in that time very early in the morning to try and focus on do actual work, and also after work also put in extra time to get some work done. And I know that this might sound like, oh my gosh, you don't put all your energy in your 9 to 5. I actually enjoy working. And I also like most of the people that I work with, so it makes the work manageable, or the stress rather manageable. I genuinely like what I do and I find fulfillment in working, so I don't really mind that it's been like a focus of mine, and also it's my primary source of income. So I have been more focused on my 9 to 5, that, after work, which is usually when I record or maybe weekends, all I want to do is just sleep and get ready for the next day. So I don't know if it's going to get any better, to be honest, because I've also taken on some more responsibilities at work. But we will see. So that is that about my 9 to 5 being the primary reason I've been a bit off social media for now. So let's talk about properties. So this month actually makes 3 years since I started my property investing journey. So I did buy my first investment property about this time 3 years ago. So it's been 3 years. And like I said in some of my past videos earlier this year, I am not investing in properties this year. And but I do have a bit of updates on what's been going on with my properties. So one of the decisions I took early this year was to sort of like change strategy into like a corporate let. So I gave one of my properties to a social housing provider. I said like I gave, like no, I rented to a social housing provider, one of them, and then the second one was rented to a supported living company as well, so like a residential care home company. And actually the interesting thing was that when I did meet both companies, they both wanted the two properties that I had, and I was a bit skeptical about putting all my eggs in one basket. So I decided to split it. So gave one to a social housing provider and then the other one to the residential care home company. And that was going well. That went well for about 3 months until the residential care home company, on the day that one of the rent was due, usually they pay like unprompted. So I was a bit surprised that around evening time, like 7 p.m., I had not seen any bank notification that they had paid. So I'd reached out and they were like, oh yes, sorry, we need to talk. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this cannot be good. So they reached out and then said that they couldn't continue with the tenancy and that they had some issues. They're not able to pay going forward, and they needed to give the property back to me. Honestly, at that point, I didn't have any bandwidth to fight and go like, hey, you signed a contract and all of that. All I was thinking was, okay, when are you able to vacate the property, and how quickly am I able to find someone else to take on the property? So they were, able to move out the next day, thankfully. So they did move out the next day, and luckily for me, the social housing provider company was still looking for more properties to take on. So at this point, I had to make a decision whether to leave the property void and not put all my eggs in one basket, or just take the plunge. In fairness, though, I would say that the social housing provider, they are a bit more organized in terms of how they do business. They're very detailed. They shared a lot of documents with me to prove their authenticity and the fact that they've been in business for a long time. The other company, they were like a startup, so to speak. So I wasn't too surprised that things didn't really pan out well working with them. But also the good side was that the residential care home company actually did give me a deposit. So within the time that it took for the social housing provider company to take on the property, I wasn't really at a loss. The only downside was that the residential care home company was paying a much higher rent than the social housing provider company. But at that point, I wasn't bothered about, not like I wasn't bothered. Let me not say that I wasn't bothered, but I was just so happy that I wasn't going to have a void. And coupled with the fact that, like I mentioned earlier, work has been extremely busy, and just not having to worry about finding new tenants and all of the stress. Now, I was used to how the social housing provider company was working. I was used to the contract, I was used to how they pay and all of that. So it was a no-brainer for me, really. And thankfully, they were able to take on the property like 2 weeks after the other guys moved out. So that was a huge relief. I have to say. And the good thing as well is they handle most of the maintenance as well. So unless there's like a major thing, which we've not had any major issue since they started working with me, they would handle all of that. Yes, they pay slightly lower rent, but in terms of stability, they've been really good for me. Although we're still in the first 6 months of the trial period, they're meant to sign with me for 3 to 5 years. So we'll see how that pans out. Maybe I'll make another video just detailing how it works with them and why, for me at this stage of my life and at this stage of my investing journey, it was just a good thing that I was dealing with them. Again, like I said, they are a company, so they're not like individuals, and it's been good really working with them so far. Like I said, I will try and make another video on what it's like working with them and what it's like doing a corporate let versus a normal AST contract that you will sign with an individual. So that is that with my investment properties. With my personal property, it's been 6 months since I moved into my own home, and really I've just been taking things easy. I've tried not to stress myself. Thankfully, I didn't buy a fixer-upper. The house did not really need any work done, and I have not attempted to do anything other than changing the magnolia paint in my living room, and also doing some light furnishing, just functional stuff, nothing major. And yeah, so that is that with properties for me. In terms of my other money goals for the year, I would say that top of my list was to rebuild my emergency funds. Oh my gosh, that was at the forefront of my mind because I'm not used to not having an emergency fund. I have made videos in the past that even when I moved to the UK, I had enough money to sustain me for a whole year, even if I didn't have a job. And to be in a position where I was assets rich and cash poor, oh my gosh, I did not feel good about that situation. So I did tell myself that I was going to try and save up 3 months worth of emergency funds. I also found out that my 3 months worth of emergency funds was not small money. And ordinarily, like, I would like to have like 1 year's worth of emergency funds, but we'll see. 3 months was what I had as my goal for this year, and thankfully I've been able to meet up with that. I am hoping I can maybe try to get to 6 months this year. If I can, that would be great. If I can't, I'm just happy that I've been able to, save up 3 months of my emergency funds, and I've put that in a high interest yielding account. But I've also been thinking about the fact that even my 3 months emergency funds is a lot for me to just hold in cash. I do have that rule, like my emergency funds needs to be very accessible. It needs to be liquid. I don't like to take any risk with it, but I'm thinking with the idea that if I do attempt to save up to 6 months worth of emergency funds, I don't know if I want to have all of that money in the high interest yielding account. Yes, it's still going to be generating me some income, but I feel like maybe I can take a bit more risk with 3 months of emergency funds and put that in my stocks and shares account. But we'll see. It's quite risky for me to even think about that, but we'll see when we get to that bridge. I am not yet there yet, so but it's something that I'm thinking about as well. Also on my money goals was the fact that I wanted to make sure that I'm consistently investing in stocks and shares, even while saving up for my emergency fund. So I've been consistent with that, and I'm so happy that I'm doing that. Yes, the stocks market has been a bit, off this year, that I decided to really try and focus a bit more on that as my primary form of investing. But hey, I'm happy that I'm able to still consistently, put something and buy more stocks and shares on a monthly basis. I already set up my direct debit to do that, so I'm consistently doing that. I'm hoping that, once I'm done with some other things that I'm doing with money this year, then I'll be able to also maybe increase a bit more. It's for long term, so I am not too worried that the market is up and down as well. In terms of my money goals as well, I also wanted to pay off a lot of my unsecured debt. So any loans that I have that is not asset backed, like my mortgage, right? I wanted to pay off, a considerable chunk of that. And I'm happy with the progress that I'm making with that. I will try and make another video on, how to pay off debt really easily, or the strategies that you can adopt as well for anyone who's trying to pay off debt or get out of debt. Yes, I will try and make another video on that. But it's been really, really good year for me in terms of me going after my money goals, taking things really easy, saving up my emergency funds, still investing, and also paying down my unsecured debt. Next update would be my trip to Nigeria. So I did move to the UK 4.5 years ago, and I haven't been back to Nigeria since then. And I did decide to go back home for about 2 weeks, and it was amazing, seeing everyone, my family, my friends, and just taking some time off work and just relaxing And yeah, just being with loved ones, it was really, really good. Yes, a lot had changed, I'm not gonna lie. Especially in terms of like prices of things. You know, it's one thing for you to hear about the cost of living crisis, and it's another thing for you to actually experience it, right? Like people, I think on one side it's like there's no middle ground, right? That was my experience. It's either people are balling, like balling hard, or people are on the extreme other side of things, and things are really expensive. I would say, like, you buy fuel for your car, like, when you're reminiscing about the prices of things at the time you left the country, and it's not like, oh, the prices are not like double. Like sometimes the prices are like 10 times, 15 times. It's just crazy. And the only thing that made it slightly better is the fact that you're spending a higher currency, so it's a bit manageable for me. But even at that, there's still that Nigerian side, like, hey, why am I paying this much for an item that I used to buy at X amount before I left? It was I would say an adjustment, but it was also good for me to experience that and also appreciate some things that people are doing back home as well. But yeah, that was different, I have to say. But yes, spending time with family was really, really good. I'll probably say that's like one of the highlights of my year so far. So the last thing I probably want to talk about is the fact that I've been just thinking about different things that I can do with my content. But I mean, like, when I do have time again for social media, I don't want to be stuck just talking about properties. I would like to talk a bit more about just personal finance in general. And then maybe a bit more of my career as well, and some of the things that have helped me. So I have been playing around with a lot of shift in my content, so that I'm not there's only so much you can talk about properties. Yes, I will still continue to share a bit more about my property investing journey, but I want to talk more a bit about other things that I'm doing as well in terms of investing. And I also feel like at this stage of my life, as a single woman in her late 30s doing things by myself, there's so many things that I have learned on my journey that I can also share. So I, will be doing a bit less of property content. So that is where I am with my life at the moment. It's been an interesting 6 months of the year. Yes, I've been able to tick off a lot of the goals that I have on my list for the year, but there's still so much that I have also dropped the ball on. Case in point is the social media and recording for YouTube. It's been so good being able to sit down and just relax and just talk to you guys. And hopefully I would have some more time to record a bit more and share a bit more content with you guys, because I genuinely like doing this. Yes, it's not my full-time job, but I would like to make a bit more effort in showing up, because it's something that I enjoy doing as well. So I've come to the end of this video. I hope you've enjoyed watching this video, so please stay tuned and I will see you in the next video. Bye.